you have to be okay with failing. It's this. So previous to this video, I had just left the gym. I did a video on a guy there, a young kid there that is very entrepreneurial and so on and so forth. As I'm doing the video, all throughout my head, I'm thinking, you're pausing a lot, you are stuttering. I wasn't really stuttering compared to compared to the way it was. You should just restart the video, yada yada yada, and it goes on and on and on, right? The old me, when I first started doing things like this, and this is back in 2012, I guess, maybe did it earlier. The old me would have listened to that. The old me would have started and stopped 15, 20 times in order to get it perfectly right. And there would every stutter, every whatever would have sent me into a tailspin of doubt as I'm doing the video. Set this to home. So the
turn to stay on East Copper Avenue.
The thing you have to keep in mind whenever you're doing anything is that you have to be okay with failing. When it comes to things like video here, the reason why it's so scary as you're doing it, if you've never done it, it's one of the most vulnerable things you can do, especially when you're putting it out into public view, completely general public, because you're going to have people, I'll probably have people on this video at some point in time talk smack. You're going to have people who are negative. You're going to have people who just don't like you for whatever reason. But the thing about it is that you're going to have this feeling, because we are social creatures. We're social animals. And when you have this contention, when you're in tribes, the chances that if the tribe doesn't like you, they're going to kick you out of civilization. They're going to kick you out of the tribe. And that means being out in the cold. That means being ostracized literally for the entire life. I mean, you could be put into complete exile, sent into slavery and so on from not the not too distant past. Thousands of years ago. It's not that long ago. So, as I was doing that video, I was getting these feelings. And even now, as every little stutter, every little pause, you get these feelings of like, ah, crap, like that's going to make people not want to continue to watch. That's going to make whatever. You're going to have these things. That will never go away. But what will go away is the feeling, the need to restart, the need to be perfect, the need to please other people. And how that changed was through public speaking, for one, actually getting out and standing out in front of people. If you look at the old Online Empire Academy, so these videos that you're watching right now, the audience was actually from the Online Empire Academy. So if you go and look back in the videos prior to all of this, you're going to see things like how to sell on Amazon, and you're going to see people talking about selling on different platforms, eBay and so on. You're going to see me. You're going to see a guy that I hired named Josh. You're going to see a whole bunch of different things. You're going to see me when I'm talking about drop shipping. I used to drop ship on Amazon. I was making 7 figures off of drop shipping on Amazon, which was really, really, really cool. The thing with those videos were the precursor to what you're seeing now. The fact that I could just sit there right then and there, think, not say not say be okay with continuing when it's just sitting there in silence. That came as a result of talking to an audience that was somewhat friendly. When I was teaching courses on how to dropship, the people who bought the course were going to be somewhat friendly, right? Because they bought the course, they want to learn. But even with that, I would get emails saying, you know, your course is good, but man, you talk a lot. And then I get emails saying, yeah, your course is good, but you don't talk enough. Your course is good, but you don't, and there would just be negative, and then they would want a refund. But then 95% of people were like, this is amazing, this is awesome, and so on. Of course, you're going to focus on the negatives, right? The negative people. But even with an audience that is somewhat friendly, you're going to have the negative people. When I was doing public speaking in person, the cool thing about speaking in person is a lot of people don't have the balls to say anything negative to your face while you're public speaking. But that gave the opportunity, so when I was speaking at WeWork, I was speaking at OC Social Media Summit, or I was speaking to politicians in San Francisco, when I was speaking to multiple different it was Latinos in social media and so on. When I was speaking at those places where we had people who were from the White House there, we had foreign dignitaries, we had a whole bunch of different things. You had to speak no matter what. You couldn't restart. You couldn't say, hey, okay, well, actually, let me restart my presentation. Let me redo this. Let me redo that. It doesn't work that way. When you put yourself in situations where you have to talk, even if it's a social situation, if you're talking to somebody that you've really wanted to talk to, maybe it's a girl or a guy or whatever that you're interested in, when you start talking, you can't stop. That's when you start to develop wit, or you start to develop the ability to stand in silence with another person. One of the most powerful things that has come through talking with other people and putting myself in situations where I cannot stop, in the sense I can't just stop and repeat, I can't pause the video, is that when I'm talking to someone one-on-one and I say something and they don't respond, being okay with the silence until they become uncomfortable and they have to break the silence. Things like that. You start to learn, you start to be playful with it, you start to enjoy it. Same thing like this is that as I'm thinking of the words to say or to stay on context in these videos, and I go into silence for 3 seconds, 5 seconds, the temptation is to go to fill. The temptation is to restart. But when you are comfortable with it, I kind of see it as a challenge. Is this video going to do well still if there's a little bit of silence here and there? I don't know. We should test it out. And then I go and look at my stats, and if it does well, great. If it doesn't, then I will be more diligent in not having a lot of silence. The whole reason for this video is to tell you, or to help you, or to have a conversation about being okay with whatever you're saying, with whatever happens, and going with the flow, and not not letting silence, not letting a negative. I had this when I was at one of the gyms that I go to. There's two of the receptionists that I know. One of them, I said, hey, so what's up? And she was in a bad mood, and you could feel it. And she's like, normally she's not, she's super nice, but she says, the sky. And I'm like, I could have been reactive. I could have been like, oh, well, it sucks. What do you mean? I stopped, I paused, I had a smirk on my face, and I said, no, not really. First it's those lights, and then the ceiling, and then she laughs. And then I clock in and I go. That pause, being okay with the silence. A lot of people, and literally the silence there was maybe 5 seconds. Imagine sitting there for 5 seconds with somebody who, and the way she said it was kind of like rude. Imagine somebody being semi-rude to you and then sitting there for 5 seconds. That would suck. Immediately, often people are going to want to react. People are going to want to, well, why did you say that? Or just walk away, right? But that pause, the ability to think, do I want to continue this conversation? Because part of me was like, I don't even want to continue the conversation. I don't even want to, I don't like when people treat me that way. So, or am I going to try and make this an opportunity to increase my wit, to increase my responses to things like that, to become stronger socially. And in that 5 seconds, I chose to do the latter. I chose to become stronger, and it worked out really well. And it's just one more little exercise, one more little muscle increase in the social dynamics. And so the more that you put yourself out there in videos like this, in TikTok videos and whatever, or it doesn't have to be like that. The more that you push yourself out there socially, the more that you allow yourself to come out, the more you get punched. That's another thing, like in martial arts. You know, in jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, you can drill all day long, which drilling is great. You have drillers make killers. But until you actually start sparring with people and you get punched in the face in Muay Thai, or swept, or kneed, or elbowed, you don't know how you're going to react. You don't know what it feels like. A lot of people, when they get a kick to the body, they're going to put both of their hands down rather than block with their elbows. A lot of people are going to make movements that leave them open to getting hurt. And that's the same thing that happens socially. Somebody that you think is a friend or whatever says, oh, this guy, in a way that is like, what the hell, and then you react with that same tone, that same thing. Now you're adding fuel to the fire. Now you're hurting them and they're hurting you, back and forth, and now you lost that relationship, right? When you put your hands down in Muay Thai from a kick, the immediate thing that's coming to your face is a cross or a hook, or maybe a jab. But if I saw somebody, if I did a switch kick and I saw someone put their hands down, I am immediately going to hook their chin and probably knock them out. Same thing if I put my hands down. That's what's going to happen. So you want to get in the fight. You want to put yourself in situations to where you're able to communicate. You're able to be who you want to be, and not necessarily not that you don't care, but not be as affected by what people think about you, what people are going to say about you. When I get nasty comments from people, I see it as a positive, because then I get to comment back and it shows more comments on the video. You start developing thick skin. You start developing the ability to speak the way that you want to speak. If you don't like my pauses, if you don't like how I talk, if you don't like the tone of my voice, if you don't, that's fine. Go away. I'm not meant for you. Go find somebody else. If you don't like the topics that I'm talking about, then go somewhere else. Or you can keep watching, and that's fine, but I'm not going to change based off of like negative comments. Constructive criticism maybe, but a lot of people, my mentors, who I pay tens of thousands of dollars to be mentored by, those are the ones I generally listen to, not people who I literally have no clue who they are, right? So, all that being said, be okay with being yourself. Learn to talk the way that you want to talk. Learn to communicate the way you want to communicate. And the more that you get yourself out there, public speaking wise, join a Toastmasters, join National Speakers Association, start making courses online. There's so many opportunities now to get in front of people and teach people. The more that you do it, the more that you're going to grow in leaps and bounds. And the more social you become, the more opportunities you're going to have. The better spoken you are, the more opportunities you're going to have to be in front of people, because they want to be with you. They want to see you. They end up being enamored with how you communicate.